In this video, we're going to be talking about the MGI Zip X3 and doing a review and whether or not it's worth picking up or not. So what we're going to be covering in this video are my first impressions, how it actually performed, how's the quality, some pros and cons, and also the best place to buy. So if you just are looking for the best and cheapest place to pick it up, I will leave a link down below. At the time of the video, that was the best place we could find it, so you can go ahead and check out the price if you want to go ahead and do so. But let's start with my first impression. So this is a pretty cool electric golf cart that's actually a lot better than some of the others I've tested out. Some were actually more money too, and I found this one was definitely quite a bit better. It doesn't have all like the fancy features like some of the other ones do, but the quality of the cart and the battery seemed great and it performed just like you want it to. So how was the build quality? So what I didn't like about some of the other carts was that they were pretty heavy, and I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't really be able to lift them out of their car and put them back in their car after they're around, that kind of thing, simply because they're just too heavy, right? So the X3 was made to be lighter and also smaller as well, but the good news was that it didn't mess with the quality. Sometimes whenever you make stuff lighter and that kind of thing, it kind of messes with the quality, that you use cheaper materials and then it's not as strong. So it was definitely nice to see that it was still light and also the quality was still there. The frame was solid, it was easy to set up and take down, and the wheels held up nicely. The only thing I did notice was that it was a little bit top heavy and it might tip over on some steep hills. So the wheelbase is pretty narrow, so if you are going like sideways along a hill or that kind of thing, and it's really steep, it could possibly tip over. It didn't happen to us and it was completely fine on the majority of hills, but if you had some really steep hill and you're maybe going like sideways on it, it could potentially tip over. But the battery on it, so it comes with a 24 volt battery, which was awesome as well since most only have a 12 volt. I like the way they designed the clip-on battery, which was really nice, and I found it quite a bit easier to get on and get off than some of the other models. I wouldn't say the battery life was better than most since the majority of electric carts last like 1 to 2 rounds. This was in that range there, and it was pretty much standard. I've tested on quite a few, and most of them are within that kind of battery range. So that was okay. But it is designed for 36 holes. On a super hilly course, I did have to charge it between every round. So generally the X5 is more for like really hilly courses, but the X3 here, it works fine like 36 holes if it's relatively flat. If it has some hills, you might be able to squeeze that out. But on one of the courses out here that we actually went out and tested on, it was like really hilly, probably more so than the majority of them, and we did have to charge it in between rounds. How did it perform? So the performance on the course was good and there wasn't a whole lot of bad things to say about it. It had plenty of power to get up the steepest hills and it lasted a full round, which is all you can really ask for. The X3 was perfect for fairly flat courses, I definitely noticed. But if you are a beginner, I maybe check out the X1 since it is a bit cheaper. Or if you go to really hilly courses, I would probably recommend the X5. So let's talk about pros. So it is fairly inexpensive compared to other electric carts. It has plenty of power to get up pretty much any hill. It is small and lightweight, so it's about 25 pounds, which is definitely lighter than most. And then it has a rotating and also a lockable front wheel, so you can either have it the front wheel so it's locked in a fixed position, or you can have it so it's rotating, so you can just do that with a click of a button and go from there. As for the cons, I did find it to be a little bit top heavy. It's not the best for steep hilled courses. Flat courses it worked completely fine, and even courses that had a little bit of hills to it, it worked completely fine. But if you are on a course where it's like really steep up and downs, there are definitely some out there. This might not be the best option. Maybe you might want to go with the X5. And then also there is no remote on it as well. Okay, so frequently asked questions. So what's the difference between the X1, the X3, the X5, and the Navigator? We kind of touched on this, but the X1 is a little bit cheaper and designed for beginners. The X3 has a rotating / lockable front wheel and digital features. The X5 has downhill speed control, and then the Navigator has a remote, right? So the X1 is obviously the cheapest, and the Nav is the most expensive, so pretty much it worked its way up. And then is this the best option in the price range? And I would say it's definitely in my top 2 I definitely really liked it, and I would recommend it. But the breakdown, performance score, I'll give it a 9. If it wasn't so top heavy, it'd probably be a perfect 10. Price score, I'll give it an 8. Durability score, I'll give it a 9. My personal score, 8.5, which is pretty solid. Okay, so is it worth it, taking into account all of that? But I would say if you're in the market for an electric cart and you don't want to break the bank, this could be a great fit for you. It's not the most fancy cart out there, but it's built well. It has lots of power and it's going to work great on flatter courses. And the cheapest place I could find it is in the description down below. We checked a bunch of different places at the time of the video. That was the best place we could find it, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want to go ahead and do so. And I will just mention our monthly giveaway, so if you want to enter in, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and then comment giveaway down below. Simply do both and you'll be automatically entered. Alright, so that's going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.